Welcome to the lesson that will talk about adding images to your Google Sites. In this example, I'm going to demonstrate how to add an image to my home page. I want to share something with you. The website called Google Site Tips that I set up for many of the units on Google Sites has a resource called Images. Now what I do is I take a lot of pictures and I do make them available for my students so that we don't have to worry about copyright. But in the meantime, we have sites like Flickr. We also have sites like Pics for Learning, PD Photo, and there's quite a few actually that will allow you to use images on your websites as long as you give credit and they're for educational purposes. If you were to go to Flickr to grab images, I might look up Greece or Rome and have that as one of my images for my home page. So I'll go ahead and type in Greece. And when you're searching for images on Flickr, you want to go to Advanced Search. Scroll down, and in this case, under Creative Commons, go ahead and select that top option. And if you want to modify it or build upon it, click the bottom option as well. And then, of course, if you're using it for commercial purposes, you would select that option. Then go ahead and search. Since these images will be published, you really need to pay attention to copyright laws. So let's say I'm scrolling down and I find this beautiful old building. Now if I wanted to use this image, I would go ahead and right click, and in this case I just need medium sized. And you can see what the terms of use are. You can go ahead and visit that page to make sure you're not breaking any copyright laws. You could go ahead and choose medium and save it. But in this case, I'm not going to use Flickr. I just wanted to demonstrate how you can use this site for your projects. I'll go back and I'll go to the images and I want to go to Pics for Learning. And when this loads, I'll go ahead and type in what I'm looking for. I'll type in Greece and I'll look around until I find something that interests me. When you find an image that interests you, go ahead and click on the small icon to see if you want to use it for your project. And I'm clicking on this one for a reason because it's actually one of my images that I contributed to Pics for Learning. So I will go ahead and I will right click and save image as. I'll go ahead and get it into my Google Sites folder and I'll go ahead and call it Greece. Now here's something you need to know about images. If this were a really huge image, you would want to bring it into an image editor and resize it. A huge mistake that people will make is they'll load a large image on a site. They'll actually make it smaller on the site, but what's happening is it's big no matter what. So the page will load really slow. So for example, if this were really a huge image, which it's not, I would go into Pixlr, the image editor that has been mentioned already in these lessons, and I would go ahead and choose Open Photo Editor. I would say Open Image from Computer, and then locate that image. You would then go to Image, Image Size, and make sure Constrained Proportions is checked off, and you could resize it to something smaller. You would then resave it. File, Save. I might call this one Grease 2. I'll go ahead and keep the original just in case. I will then make sure it's a JPEG because the general rule of thumb is that if it's a photograph, you save it as a JPEG. I'll set the quality to 100 and I will say OK. Locate the folder and click on Save. I will then return to the site, go into Edit mode, click where I want to add the image and choose Insert Image. I will then browse for that image, select it, and once it's loaded, I will say OK. Now this is still awfully huge. So what you can do is click on the image, and I might choose medium. I don't know if you saw the options below. And in this case, I'm going to choose wrap on so the text wraps around the image. Now here's something that is really annoying with web design. I'll go ahead and save that. Now let's say someone comes along and they click on the image. Maybe you want small images, and if they click on it, they could see the larger image. That's fine. But what happens is they'll click on the image and it loads in a new window, which is great, but if they close out that website, the website's gone. That is a huge problem. You don't want to lose people at your site. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and open up my site again. So here's my site. I'm going to go back into edit mode. Now if you don't want it to be a hyperlink, you could click on it and choose remove. That will remove it as a hyperlink. However, if you want them to click on it and see the larger image, you could click on the image, go into change, and notice where it says open this link in a new window, check that off and click OK. I'll now save it, and now when I click on the image and I close it, my website is still there. That's a really important tip for web design. This concludes the session on dealing with images on a Google website. Until next time, you have a wonderful day.